Welcome back to your hour. Susan Howell is joining me now. We had you on Mouthy Broads Wednesday night. That was fun.
That was fun.
But you're here to talk about a comedy writing workshop that is it's on the 15th of June.
Right. It's on the 15th of June, and it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. Well, we've never even heard about a comedy writing workshop. This is a writing workshop. It's to give people an idea of how to get started. What are the parts of comedy? And it's being done by a fellow who is a Winchendon. He lived here. He was born. I think he was born here. Went to WSU and so forth. And as an avocation, he did stand-up comedy, but he's really a technical guy. But when he retired, he now does this pretty well full time. He's been doing it for years, and he's a very funny man. His name is Dan Edwards, and for any of you local folks, you may recognize the name Dan Edwards, especially if you worked at Boeing or NCR.
So tell me, not only the workshop, but then there's another an evening performance where he'll be joined by some musicians.
Right. In the evening at Larksfield Place, there will be an entertainment event. Where you sit and just have fun and be entertained, and it will be at Larksfield Place, 7 to 9. And accompanying Dan, who will do a stand-up comedy routine like he often does, but accompanying him will be Roger Mattingly, who is a musician locally here in Wichita, and Bob Wilson, who wrote the theme song for the convention, which I will mention, which is the whole purpose of all of this. Who wrote the theme song for our convention and who has a fabulous voice, and he'll be there singing. And Dan said that we'll see about this, but if we get a good joke out of our afternoon workshop, he will tell it at the evening.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of a challenge. You know, we have so much talent in Wichita.
Oh, it's incredible. Thank goodness, because we draw these people into our Kansas Authors Club. Okay, and the whole purpose of what we're doing with this workshop, it came about because we're going to be hosting the state convention for the Kansas Authors Club, an annual convention that has probably, I don't know if it's been going on since the day the club was formed, but it was formed in 1904, so think about that. Yeah.
You weren't around then,
I
were
was
you?
not. I don't remember that. They tell me that.
Okay.
Thank you. But this started out to be a fundraiser to help us afford to put on the convention. Kansas Authors Club convention, and I forgot where I was going.
I don't know. This just sounds like a lot of fun. Now, people can become a member of the Kansas Authors Club without being a published author.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It used to be the case that you had to show some kind of writing. You had to show your writing. You had to, I presume, pass the test. I joined after that. They changed the rules because I think they began to realize that, well, if you have an authors club that supports authors, then how are you going to get new authors?
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have that requirement anymore. So if you go to this workshop, it just so happens the cost of that, if you're not a Kansas Authors Club member, you can go for free if you're a Kansas Authors Club member. Okay. But if you're not a Kansas Authors Club member, you can pay the $25 and become a member, which is the same price as you would pay if you went to the workshop.
Cool. So that sounds like added value.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Well, so you actually get a work
that's
or a yearbook
when you
belong to the Authors Club. Now that yearbook, everybody gets to say what they want to say in a page?
Everybody gets a page. Okay. It could be a poem, it could be a family story, it could be whatever they want to put in that page as long as they're a member. And remember, that's statewide.
Right.
Okay, so, and then there's a directory of members and various official officers and all that stuff that you have with an organization. But you'll notice I put my name on this because these things can fly away if you don't do that.
That's true. That's very true. So, we didn't mention where the workshop would be taking place.
Okay, the workshop is going to be at St. James Episcopal Church, which is on Douglas, just a little bit to the east of Hillside. And they have a guild hall there that's huge, and that's where it'll be in the afternoon, 2 to 4. And then, of course, the evening one will be Larksfield Place. I think I did mention that.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan Edwards, to me, this is a kind of a giving back type thing, because he's doing this basically for the organization.
Right.
He's on his way somewhere. He's on his way to Oklahoma, from what I understand.
Exactly. He and his wife Nancy and my husband John and I have been friends for many, many years. And when I heard that he was having a family reunion, and he had been here last year, by the way, and had done a comedy routine for us. But when I heard he was coming back, I said, Dan, you have to stop in Wichita and help us out. And he said, of course I will. Yeah.
So, and you said, well, that wasn't really a request, it was an order.
It was basically, he knew.
Well, you know, I think a lot of times when people are interested in writing, they really like to have some kind of inspiration or some kind of guidance, mentoring. Maybe mentoring is a good word for it.
Exactly.
Because when you're just getting started, you don't really know where you're going or how to get there.
Exactly. One of the things that we do in the club when we have meetings, and we meet every month except in the summer months, or in October when we have our convention, you know.
Right.
That's wherever it's going to be in the state. But we meet monthly here in our district, and we'll have what we call read-arounds. And then people get an idea of, they pick up ideas. We had one meeting where a lady came for the first time, and at the end of the meeting she says, may I read my poem that I just wrote? Because she got so inspired by listening to the other poem. And I got started really by getting into a class at Life Ventures, which is the Shepherd Center on the east side of town here.
Okay.
And it's being taught by a guy called Roy Beckemeyer, who he just sort of made me feel that I could do it. And that's all you really need. That's all that matters. You know, you just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you said that he actually kind of spells out for you in a poem what a poem is.
Well, it gave me, I think it would give people a little bit better idea of where a poem fits when the whole thing of prose, different kinds of, or, do you want me to read it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay. And I asked him permission to read this. That's one thing we're very careful about, is ownership of the work.
Okay.
Okay. Poetry is a guest. A novel is a quest. A short story is a breeze. A poem is a guest. You never want to leave. A novel has a plot. It may even have many. A short story does not. It just has one, if any. A poem now will wander from here or there at will. A poem will not squander words as stuffing or as frills. So poems can always stay with me as long as they like, as guests for free.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more Your Hour, so stick around.